Now let us discuss the stereochemistry aspect of this penicillin. You will be surprised to know that all these penicillins, and though it is the synthetic one or it is the natural one, they are having the same sort of stereochemistry. So that means in the action, in the mechanism of action, this sort of stereochemistry is very essential. So let us see how the stereochemistry of this particular penicillin is there. If you can see the structure, in the structure you will find that there are three asymmetric carbon atom. Three asymmetric carbon atom refers to what? There are the three chiral carbon atoms. So which are they? This is the third position. At the third position, that the third carbon, this is the chiral carbon or asymmetric carbon. Why? Because it is attached to the four different groups. So check this. This is one proton, other is COH, other is N and a ring, and to this the CS and ring. So that means this one is, we call it as a asymmetric carbon atom. Now the second asymmetric carbon atom you see here, that is at the fifth position. Similarly at the sixth position also you will find there are the three asymmetric carbon atom, or there is the chiral carbon atoms are there. Now you know, whenever there is chiral carbon atom, there is configuration. Configuration is what? Configuration is nothing but the spatial arrangement of different groups around that particular chiral carbon or that asymmetric carbon atom. Let us see. If you see position 3, check this third position or check this third carbon. Now there is the configuration, we call it as the absolute configuration and relative configuration. Now what is the absolute configuration? Whenever we discuss about the absolute configuration, what are there? Either it is R configuration or it is the S configuration. Understand? Now these are the absolute configuration. Now how we decide this absolute configuration? We arrange the groups on a priority basis. Understand? From highest priority to lower priority group. And if from higher priority to lower priority, if it is in a clockwise direction and the lowest priority group is above the plane, we call it as a S configuration. You know that. Let us see. Now this is the carbon number 3. Now this is attached to nitrogen. This is attached to nitrogen. Now as this is attached to nitrogen, what we can call it as, this is attached to nitrogen, so that this is priority 1. Got it? Now this carbon is attached to this carbon. Now this particular carbon is attached to sulfur, so that this is the priority 2, and this COH is the priority 3, and the fourth priority will be to the proton. Understand? So if you check the priorities from 1, this is 2 and this is 3. So what is this? This is in a clockwise direction. Now as this is in a clockwise direction, now we have to check the position of the lowest priority atom or lowest priority group. Who is the lowest priority group? That is this proton. Now this proton is above the plane. Proton is above the plane and the rest of the groups are in a clockwise direction. That means this configuration is called as S configuration. Is this clear? हे S कॉन्फिगरेशन का झालेलं आहे? हे S कॉन्फिगरेशन झालेलं आहे कारण 3 नंबरचा जो कार्बन ॲटम आहे तो पहिल्यांदा नायट्रोजनला अटॅच झालेला आहे, वर कार्बन सल्फरला अटॅच झालेला आहे आणि तिसरा कार्बन ऑक्सिजनला अटॅच झालेला आहे. मग याच्यामध्ये प्रायोरिटी 1 कुणाला असणार आहे? नायट्रोजनचे. का? कारण नायट्रोजनचा हायर ॲटॉमिक नंबर आहे, सो दॅट नायट्रोजनला आपण जे कनेक्शन आहे त्याला आपण म्हणणार 1. गॉट इट? सेकंड कोणाला म्हटलं आपण? सेकंड आपण म्हटलं की जो कार्बन सल्फरला अटॅच आहे त्याला आपण म्हटलं प्रायोरिटी 2, आणि तिसरा काय? कार्बन जो ऑक्सिजनला अटॅच आहे दॅट इज प्रायोरिटी 3, आणि लोएस्ट प्रायोरिटी ग्रुप कुठला आपण घेतला? दॅट इज द लोएस्ट ॲटॉमिक नंबर. कोण आहे तो? दॅट इज द प्रोटॉन. आता हा जो प्रोटॉन आहे इट्स अबाव द प्लेन. अबाव द प्लेन. चेक द स्ट्रक्चर. अबाव द प्लेन. अबाव द प्लेन असल्यामुळे काय झालं? हे अबाव द प्लेन आहे आणि बाकीचे जे प्रायोरिटीज आहेत ग्रुपच्या प्रायोरिटी ते क्लॉकवाईज डिरेक्शन मध्ये, म्हणून हे कॉन्फिगरेशन जे आहे दॅट इज दी एस कॉन्फिगरेशन झालेलं आहे. आता इन अ सिमिलर वे इफ यू सी दी कॉन्फिगरेशन ॲट दी फिफ्थ पोझिशन मध्ये पण पहा, दिस इज दी प्रायोरिटी, दिस सल्फर वुड बी दी प्रायोरिटी नंबर 1. now then this nitrogen is there and this nitrogen is there, but this nitrogen is attached to CO. Okay, so that this is the priority number 2, this is the priority number 3, so that is check this 1 2 3. So this could be what, this is your clockwise direction, but the proton is what, below the plane. समजते का, इथे कसं होतं, प्रोटॉन अबव द प्लेन होतं. आता कसं आहे आर कॉन्फिगरेशन आणि एस कॉन्फिगरेशन म्हणजे काय, प्रोटॉन अबव द प्लेन म्हणजे लोएस्ट प्रायोरिटी अबव द प्लेन आणि क्लॉकवाइज डिरेक्शन, दॅट इज एस कॉन्फिगरेशन. आता क्लॉकवाइज डिरेक्शनच पण लोएस्ट प्रायोरिटी बिलो द प्लेन आणि क्लॉकवाइज डिरेक्शन, दॅट वी कॉल्ड एज व्हॉट, आर. त्यामुळं फिफ्थ पोझिशनला जे कॉन्फिगरेशन तयार झालं दॅट इज आर कॉन्फिगरेशन. सिमिलरली या 6 पोझिशनला सुद्धा कॉन्फिगरेशन जे तयार झालं दॅट इज आर कॉन्फिगरेशन. सो व्हॉट इज दिस वन, दॅट इज ॲट दी third carbon is having the S configuration, absolute configuration. Fifth carbon is having the R configuration, and sixth configuration is the R configuration. This is what the absolute configuration. Now there is a relative configuration. Relative configuration म्हणजे काय असतं, relative configuration is something we call it as the relative to the L glyceraldehyde. Got it? So L and D, these are the relative to glyceraldehyde. Got it? Now check this sixth carbon wala, sixth carbon atom, this is the sixth carbon atom. Now this sixth carbon atom is having the relative configuration L relative configuration. या 6 नंबरचा जो कार्बन आहे त्याचं जे relative configuration आहे that is the L configuration. Got it? Now that is one thing. Similarly, if you check the relative configuration for the third one, for this third one the relative configuration is D configuration. Got it? So L configuration and D configuration. So third carbon relative configuration D, sixth carbon relative configuration L. Understand? So this is the relative configuration. Please understand, you take any synthetic, you take any natural penicillins, you will get the same sort of stereochemistry. This is the beauty of the stereochemistry. Is this clear? Then the second important part is, please check this acyl group, CONH group. Check, this is the above the plane and this COH group is below the plane. So that means the group which is attached at the position 3 is below the plane and the group which is attached to the position 6 is above the plane. That means they are trans to each other. Compared to that penam ring, they are trans to each other. So this is the configuration, or this is the what we call it as a stereochemistry of the penam ring or stereochemistry of the penicillin. So in short, I'll explain the stereochemistry of the penicillin ring. First thing is it is having the 3 asymmetric carbon atom, third carbon, fifth carbon, sixth carbon. Second thing, it is having the same absolute configuration even it is in the natural or in a synthetic compound. What is that? The third carbon is having the S configuration, 5 carbon is having the R configuration and 6 carbon is having the R configuration. And the relative configuration to glyceraldehyde is what? The 6th carbon is having the L configuration, relative configuration, and the third carbon is having the D relative configuration. And to that penam ring, the third position and 6th position, that is the acyl group, the CONH group and the carboxyl group, these two groups are trans to each other. So this is the stereochemistry of penicillin and the related derivatives.